Good evening and welcome to another edition of Nevada County Interviews. I'm your host, Paul Minicucci. And this evening, we're very happy and pleased to have the Children's Picture Book Project represented on in our studios. And so I have with me 5 students from the 4th grade at Deer Creek Elementary School and their teacher, Kimberly Hewing.
Hi.
Nice to see you again, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Kimberly and her class were here last year and showed off their work, and our students are back again this year with another batch of wonderful picture books that they made. So Kimberly, let's start with you and talk a little bit about your background. I know you were born and raised here.
I was not born here, but raised here from 4 until I was 18. Went to Deer Creek School myself, which was very exciting. And then I went to Seven Hills Junior High and then up to Nevada Union High School. Graduated there in 1989. And then went off to college in the Bay Area and studied journalism.
You started in a business career.
I did. I was in the financial industry down in the San Francisco area. And I realized this isn't thriving for me in the financial industry. So I went overseas and taught English as a second language in Italy. Yep, you're right. Paul Minicucci. Italian. Right. So, yes, I went over there and taught English. I said, this is really fun. You know, I like to use my enthusiasm for learning and transfer it over as an educator. And so then when I came back from Italy, I went to get my CBEST and my teaching credential, and here I am. 4th grade teacher.
We're really pleased to have you here.
Thank you.
And this project is the Children's Picture Book Project, and all those words have meaning. So tell us a little bit about the project. So what children do here is they read a book, and then they take that book and they illustrate it and they retell that story.
Right. One of the major tasks was to take a 4th grade, even 5th grade reading level book and simplify it. What was most important? You know, what was the lesson? What was the author's purpose? Right. And so to make it fun and to get the kids involved in that, they were able to take a book that they loved at their level of reading and synthesize it, summarize it, and then bring it down to a very simplistic plot and storyline using figurative language and dialogue.
Right. And so they learn English skills, the reading skills, there's writing skills, so there's also art skills involved.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about the arts part of this.
Well, for me, it was special for them to design their own cover for their books. And so they took time to sketch them, illustrate how they wanted to frame them the way they wanted. They even were able to design the title. They could change the title as they adapted their own books.
Right.
So.
And I know last year we reproduced as a published book.
Yes, it was so exciting. We have a fantastic computer lab. Kids, you love them. They love it. And when we go images from the internet or through this gallery and place them into their book.
Right.
It was very exciting.
So they're very illustrated.
Yes.
This year, very good.
Yeah.
I know. I'm very excited that the product is so professionally done.
I know. I was really impressed with that, and it was my pleasure. The contest was the top authors will get published.
Right.
And so that was the exciting part.
So let's talk a little bit about the process. So these are books that the children have available to them, and they have a wide list of books to be able to choose from. Tell us about how that works.
Well, the kids know, most kids in the school systems now go through a program called Accelerated Reader. It's an incentive program to read, to understand, and to keep growing with, hopefully, they're at the next grade level or even beyond. And the test that they take after reading the book helps them make sure they understood the story and the gist of the story with comprehension questions.
And so they chose from amongst a number of books that they could read.
They get so many choices, so many genres and authors, styles, different popular books and historic classics.
So they can be novels or they can be nonfiction
They
books
could, absolutely. They don't always choose that at this stage, but they can, certainly.
Now, did it ever happen that somebody chose the same book to do?
Yes.
Yes?
I believe so. There were 2 kiddos, I believe, that read Hoot and adapted that to their own book.
And so the children read the book, and they then therefore have to understand the book, and then they put it into similes and things like that.
Right.
What kind of writing skills do they get to?
Well, fourth grade, yeah, is so huge. They are writing like serious students this year. What happens with writing, it's very hard to teach writing and sometimes to even learn it because there is no huge structure.
Right.
So what we talked about is the storyline. And the storyline is like an arc. So you've got the beginning, you have the setting, the character, and the rising action. And so they had the rising action into the conflict, the climax, the problem.
Right.
And so that's at the peak of the story. And then, of course, the falling action, what's coming to a close, what's coming to a solution or resolution. And then at the end is at the end it's sort of a closing.
Right.
And so that's kind of how we used it for this. What were the important parts of the storyline to complete your story?
Right. And I know one of the things you do is you have the students extract from their book a meaning or a point of view or something to take away for the reader. Tell us a little bit how you work with that.
Well, for me, every time I read a book, I always learn something. That's why I think I'm a teacher, is because I'm a lifelong learner. I like to learn. I like to experience new things. And these kids are really incredible readers. And I think that they don't know what they're learning a lot of times, that it's just kind of soaking in. So this time I really articulated to them, would you guys consider thinking about what did you learn from this story? What was what's a big life lesson you could have learned?
Right. Now, I know I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and being a former teacher myself, I know there's sort of mixed attitudes towards some of the curriculum that has gone on in the state of California. And some of the curriculum is so mechanical that the teachers don't get a sense of being a professional educator in a sense. And this kind of project gets you out of that, doesn't it? I mean, you're into an integrated learning phase, and you don't have the little workbook type mentality.
Right. And I mean, the kids thrive on these kind of projects because they're independent and they aren't in a workbook. It's all in their mind.
Right. And of course, you get the chance to get some art into the curriculum. That's
Absolutely.
very difficult to do.
And kids love to draw. I mean,
Yes.
most kids love to draw. And these guys are just incredible.
Right. I
And
saw that.
so it's good to tap into that and give them that pleasure.
Great. So do you think, in the bigger picture, do you think a lot of people fret, I think, that writing is going to be a lost skill because even though we have more texting than ever on mobile devices, it's all little snippets. It's not necessarily coherent language. What's your feeling about that?
That's a big question. I don't know. I really don't know.
Some people think it's good because kids do want to be connected and they do write. And so the process of writing is a little bit more natural, even if it's not as sophisticated as we would like.
Right. So I'm not sure what the future holds. But I love that kids want to continue to communicate and write.
Right.
And so we'll see.
Yeah, a lot of people thought once you get mobile phones, they'll just be taking pictures, but it didn't work out that way.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start and go over to our students and talk to them about their books.
Good.
And we'll see what they have to say. So, I have Isabella with me. So, Isabella, tell us about your book and why you chose it. It's called Hoot.
I chose the book because I got halfway through and I really liked it, so I kept on reading. And
Yeah. What did you like about it? Who's the main character in Hoot?
Roy, he at the end he saves owls from being killed by a big machine.
Okay, so there was so we have a rising action. We have the Roy and the owls, and this machine comes by and he creates a conflict. Is that what happens?
Yeah.
Okay, and so tell us a little bit more about what happened. How did the problem get solved?
They were having this grand opening for it, and he shouted out, and convinced them not to build the pancake.
Book. What lesson did you learn? What did you write as your lesson learned?
I learned that you shouldn't bully other people, and you should think about things before you do them.
Mm-hmm. And was there a bully? Who was the bully in this story?
Dana Matherson.
What did Dana what was he doing?
He was bullying Roy, and in the beginning of he was bullying Roy and doing things like to hurt him and stuff.
And so has this increased your interest and love of animals in any way?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you like owls?
Yeah.
Oh, good. It's a big owl country here. Have you seen owls?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, they're out there. Trust me. Of course, owls don't come out during the day mostly. They come out during the dusk. So that's why they have big eyes. So the lesson was learned: don't bully people. That's a really good lesson, I think, and your artwork was very good. So, do you think that you might want to do more writing and picture books in the future?
Yeah.
Good. So, what would you like to be when you grow up?
A teacher.
See, a teacher. Very good, Kimberly. You're doing something right. I'm going to move over to Drew. So, Drew, what was the name of your book?
The Burning House.
Okay, The Burning House. And tell us about what happens in the burning house. Who are the characters, first of all?
The characters are Violet, Klaus, and Sunny, and their parents, they go to a beach and their parents die in a horrible fire, and it's a book series, so they go to live with their Count Olaf, which is either their second cousin 3 times removed or their third cousin 2 times removed. It doesn't say. And basically, he's the bad guy in the movie, and they have to live with him, and he makes them do all these treacherous chores, and they have to go to bed at 4. They have to prepare his dinner. So what happens is Count Olaf uses an anagram to disguise his name as Al Funkut, and he writes a play called The Marvelous Marriage. And because he wants the Baudelaire fortune, because their parents died, Violet has to get married. So they get a legal justice of the peace to certify the marriage, but it was supposed to just be a play. So Violet almost marries what's Count Olaf, and it makes it so that he could take control of their fortune.
Why don't we tell the people at home what an anagram is? Because you mentioned an anagram. What is that?
An anagram is where basically it's like a word jumble. You take a name or a word and you jumble it up into another name or something that could make sense.
So I take it that somebody comes to the rescue?
Actually, they always kind of figure their way out, and in this one, because Sunny the baby, just an infant, gets dangled from a tower. So Klaus has to go up and save her. So right when he saves her, they just go out, and Count Olaf escapes, and he escapes and has a bunch of different disguises and everything throughout the entire series.
So there's more Count Olaf to come.
Yes, there's actually a total of 14 books, I'm pretty sure, because this is adapted from a book series called A Series of Unfortunate Events. And there's also a movie about it, too.
That's really exciting. Now, what was the lesson learned? What did you say the lesson learned here was?
I said the lesson learned that you should always make the best out of something and try to think positive and be like an optimist.
And how did you learn that? By the children figuring their way out of these things?
Every time they just try to keep their spirits bright and go through and be happy.
Well, great. Well, it's how do you think second graders who might be reading your book would deal with the family having the mother and father die? Is that too tragic for a second grader, do you think?
No, I didn't really say die. I said perished in the fire. So, it could be read to a second grader very easily. They'd be just a little more hooked on it so far that they wouldn't really pay attention to that be like, whoa. Because they're all pretty good of age, because Klaus is 12, Violet's 14, and Sunny is 6.
Well, that's really great. Well, thank you for bringing your book to us. Good job. Okay, Sarah, what is the name of your book?
Molly Moon's incredible book, Pug Petula.
And what is this about? It's about a pug, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's start. Who is Molly Moon?
She is an orphan, and she goes to New York with her pug Petula, and yeah.
Yeah. And then what happens to the pug? Does the pug get lost?
Someone steals the pug, and the only way Molly can get it back is to rob a bank.
Oh, sounds dangerous. And then what happened to that?
She gets away with it still, but I can't remember. Yeah.
And so then, how does the pug get reunited?
She has to take him back because the person that took her pug still keeps it, even though she robbed the bank and had to give him all the jewels and everything that she got out of it. Yeah, she got the pug back by taking it.
Okay. Now, you know, the Gail, who is the producer of our show, has a pug named Harley, and we list him as a producer, so we have a special place in the show for pugs. Do you like pugs?
Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah, they're very cute and they're very smart. So what was the lesson learned for you in this book?
Home is a great place because just that it would be scary being like not at home and not being with my family and everything.
Right. But they get you reunited at the end, right?
Mhm.
That's good. Well, thank you, Sarah, for your book. That was really good. I'm going to move over to Annie now.
Well, Christopher is a mouse, and he starts off in a little cage with his brothers and his sister and his mom, and then he gets taken to a pet store. And then he meets this parrot that teaches him poetry. And soon a guy named Freddie comes in, and he buys him. And his friend named what's his name? Sorry.
It's okay, his friend.
His friend came over and he wanted his mouse, Christopher. So Freddie has always wanted this pocket knife that he had. So they traded, and it turns out that his friend didn't really care about the mouse. He just cared about the money, because his friend was gonna trade Christopher for like a lot of money for his. Sorry.
That's okay. Don't worry. So there was going to be a trade. So what happened? I hope Christopher got saved. Did he get saved?
Yeah, he ran away.
He ran away, and then he came back to his original family?
Well, no, not exactly. These people found him, and then they took him home, and then they turned out that they were really nice. So
Good. So what was the lesson learned that you learned from this book?
don't treat animals badly. Treat them the way you would want to be treated yourself.
Right. And don't trade your mouse for a pocket knife. That was the first thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was good. So what do you think this project meant to you? Did you enjoy reading or the art part? What did you like best about it?
I liked writing the book, and I also liked finding all the pictures. I just enjoyed it all.
Very good. So Christopher Mouse by Annie. So that was a very good project. I'm going to move over here and talk to Ethan. And Ethan, what's the name of your book?
The Hardy Boys and the Missing Chums.
Okay, now the Hardy Boys, they've been around a long time. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so did the story sound to you like an old story, or is it something that could happen today?
An old story.
Yeah. And so what was the story behind the missing chums?
There's these bank robbers that rob a bank, and they know that Frank and Joe, the two detectives in this book, are sneaking around trying to find them. And then they accidentally take their friends Chet and Biff, thinking that it was them. And Frank and Joe try to get Chet and Biff back.
Now, so the Hardy Boys are detectives, right?
Yeah.
And the young kids, how old are they, 14 or 15?
It doesn't say in this book.
Okay. So what was the most interesting thing to you about this book? Did you like the mystery part or the characters or what?
The mystery.
Okay. So do you think you could be a mystery writer someday?
No, probably not.
Okay. Now tell me about the your picture. It's got a flashlight on the front. Is that right?
Yeah.
And what's the meaning of a flashlight?
Well, on some of the covers, there's a flashlight on it, so I just kind of want to put that on there.
Right. The Hardy Boys use flashlight often to solve their mysteries. So how did the Hardy Boys solve this mystery?
They found out that the robbers were hiding on this old island and using like a hermit that died, but the Hardy Boys didn't know that. And they used him like to scare them off. And then when they finally came, they got kidnapped. And then they had to get out of it. And they did because there was this old man that was there. He got kidnapped too, but he didn't get tied up. He just got beaten, and he helped them. And then they found out where they put all the stuff. And friends will rely on you, and you can rely on them, and they'll help you when they're in when you're in sticky situations.
So what was the best part of the project for you? The artwork, the storytelling, or the reading? What did you like the best?
The writing.
The writing. Okay. Well, thank you, Ethan. I'm gonna come back over here. Interesting set of books and
job,
and
you
stories.
guys.
Very good job by the
job.
students. So what do you learn from the project? What's the biggest benefit to the kids, do you think?
Well, there's so much because, they're just writing, they're emergent writers right now, learning topic, sentence, and structure. But what's really fun about this project is they really get to use their imagination to create the story and create the image that they want to portray through their words. And the power of that.
Right.
And the fun of that.
And so they learn self-confidence through their skills.
Absolutely. And when I read something out loud that's their writing, and the kids around are like, wow, that was fantastic. I read something from Ethan's, and it shows that the power of your words is really creative, and everybody can do it, no matter what your skill is.
And the job skills that they learn for future education and jobs are terrific, aren't they?
Right. They learn figurative language, how to bring in imagery. They learn dialogue and how to create that in a story. They learn personification, other things that just bring writing to life. And that's why they love to read, is how their writers or their authors bring. One of the kiddos 2 years ago, he showed up just this week. And I said, oh, we're doing the picture book project. And he was one of the top authors. He said, oh, I remember that. That was so fun. And I still like to write. Now he says he's writing into journals and doing sketches and books.
Right. And I think it's something that children will learn and take away. We'll only have about 30 seconds left. So, Kimberly, I want to thank you.
Thank you.
For coming. And thank you, children. That was really fantastic. I want to thank my crew, Gail. I have Jenna and Janice on the cameras, and in the back room we have Diane, and I'm not sure who else is back there, but I thank them, and particularly Harley the Pug. That's about all we have time for tonight, so this is Paul Minicucci saying bye-bye until next time.